Have you ever heard the truth behind the construction of Mount Rushmore? If not, let me get straight to it. Before the construction of Mount Rushmore in 1927, the Black Hills and South Dakota was native to the Sioux people, or the Sioux. Also previous to the construction of Mount Rushmore, there was gold found, natural artifacts, ancient artifacts, and a plethora of many other things of value to the Sioux. The Gov treated the Sioux Nation of Indians like trash. And that's not the first time we've ever seen that when natural resources come into play. Which of course brings me right back to the construction of Mount Rushmore, 1927. The name of the sculptor who was assigned to the project of Mount Rushmore was named Gustav Borglum. Between 1927 and 1939 is when the majority of the work by Gustav Borglum would be done. Also throughout this time period, Gustav Borglum had the idea of creating something called the Hall of Records for all four of the presidents. Stay with me, I'm gonna get right back to the Hall of Records. According to Gustav Borglum himself, the plans were to make Mount Rushmore and the four presidents sculpted all the way down to the waist. But unfortunately for the artist, he passed away in 1941, and here's where things start to get very interesting. So of course, Gustav Borglum passes away, and then the project goes into the hands of his brother, Laken Borglum. And then not long into the year 1940, they could no longer afford to do the project. Even though it was funded by Peter Norbeck, who was a U.S. Senator at the time of South Dakota and had federal funding like I mentioned earlier. So of course following that, the government isn't going to allow this project to go unfinished. In the eyes of Gustav Borglum, this is what Mount Rushmore should have looked like. And this is what we got instead. However, there is one place that they made sure they finished construction. None other than the Hall of Records, of course. Right on the top of head of Lincoln. There are a lot of theories saying that there's more than meets the eye to the Hall of Records. Very few people have access to the Hall of Records, and very people even have knowledge of the Hall of Records. This is how it looks from the inside out, the surface, but it's a lot bigger than what they say. So who is it to say that the Hall of Records doesn't hold more than what meets to the eye? More than bibliographies, artifacts of North America, honors and heroics, quote unquote, of the four presidents. And since they took it upon themselves to complete the Hall of Records, but not complete Mount Rushmore how Gustav Borglum wanted it, I think it might be a lot more to it. And I say this because before, after, and during the construction of Mount Rushmore, the Sioux people were fighting constantly to get their sacred land back, the Black Hills, even to the point where it went to the Supreme Court in 1980, United States versus Sioux Nation of Indians. The ultimate ruling was that the U.S. didn't violate anything, and that the taking of their sacred land would only need compensation, which settled at $1.2 million. They didn't take it. Today worth billions of dollars, and they still haven't accepted the money. Why have a such high payout if you're not high enough? Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments.